I remember going up home and going, look at this. It is time. It hit me in the face like a comet, in between my eyes.
You can sing pop, you can sing a ballad, and that crowd will go with you.
I want my voice to be the leader. I want my sense of imagination to be limitless. And I want to put rock music at the forefront of my brand and my idea, because it's what I've grown up with.
The moment that you're in is so rare. It probably, I know it's rare, but you don't realize how rare it is. Dom, thank you for being on my show. Let me start here.
Thank you for having me. I'm
course.
so excited to be here, man.
Okay.
Long overdue, I think.
But let me start here, okay? I hate doing interviews over Zoom. So I've only done two. Hold on. I've only done two. One was Sam Moore of the great Sam and Dave Soul Group, because he was 89 years old, couldn't get on a plane. And you, because I can't pin you down because you're moving like a comet across the sky at the moment.
It's wild, man. Honestly, I really appreciate it, because I'm in Detroit at the minute, and I was literally just like, I've got to do this. I've got to do this with Billy, man. Please, let's just try and get him to do it remote. So I appreciate it.
So normally, I don't know if you've seen my interviews, I like to do like a deeper dive, like everything from childhood, family, everything. So I feel like this isn't the right way to do it, but what I want to do is what I would call like a heat check, because you're at a very interesting moment of your musical and personal life. So it's more like a drop in, like, let's just kind of see where you are. And the idea here would be, if we look at this in 20 years, we'll see which one of us was more right about where you end up.
I know. It's been so funny with you, because I almost see you as like Gandalf for me, because you've made comments about where I'm at, and then it kind of like happens. I'm like, hang on a second, like Gandalf or Yoda? You know what I mean?
I like Gandalf better.
All right, fair deal.
Okay, so we'll just jig and jog around. Nothing too serious today. We'll save that for another time. But so you got Idols out. You're out on tour on the Idols World Tour, which, by the way, very unique name. Idols album, Idols World Tour.
Yeah, wild.
That's
man.
One of those ones like nobody sat and thought like Idols World Tour.
Yeah, it's been such a strange. I don't know. It's almost been like a manifestation to what has happened within this album and this tour. I think like I made an album really about reclaiming oneself and really doing what I wanted. I think.
Funny
I
how
really
that works,
home.
right? Like it's working,
Huh?
and it works.
Yeah, and it worked. Honestly, I think it's so creative. It was so serendipitous that we're doing this, because I really remember feeling quite at a crossroads in my life when I hit 27, and Idols was an album that I've been envisioning since I was 22 years old. And I really remember seeing you say something about me on the Ali Hagendorf podcast. I remember you talking about my voice, and I honestly, you were such a massive part of that turning point, because I think when you like look at your idols, like someone like you, to me, I think kind of when you know them on a personal level, and when they talk about you, you have kind of, before that, you have no point of reference. All you have is yourself, your friends, your record company, the people around you. But when you hear someone you look up to and an idol you look up to go like, I think it's time for him to sing, and I think it's time for him to do a rock album. I think it's time for him to lean into really what he wants to do, because I see this thing, but it's not quite linked up yet. I literally was like, oh, finally, I feel like I can really lean into what
I didn't know that, so I'm very touched that
100%. I remember going up home and going, look at this. It is time. It hit me in the face like a comet, in between my eyes, because I think what's been interesting is I've been doing this since I was 18, and you never expect for people to even care at the start. You love it, you believe it, and then the whole world suddenly gets involved and has an opinion. And for so long, people have been telling me to twist the idea of rock music instead of just really just go for it in its purest form that I fell in love with it with. And then good old Billy Corgan goes, I wish you'd just sing, man. And then I'm like, and then And then I was like, okay, let's go. And I think this whole journey really, really has been so beautiful because I've settled into the first iteration of what I believe I will be doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
The music, or the journeys I'll be taking for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what we call in the band a musician's timing, you see. So it's the right quote on the right day, you know?
Yeah. Wild. Hit me
Um,
in the face.
well, I remember seeing you, let's call it Mach 1, you know, remember seeing a clip of you maybe on the Jimmy Kimmel show or something. You're walking backstage and you were singing and you kind of came out to the crowd and the whole thing. And I thought, okay, this guy can sing. But then to that point, all the marketing was very much, you know, typical pop,
Yeah.
right? At least what we would call pop here. I know the UK scene is slightly different,
Yeah.
which is, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way. I don't know him, but because I was at Virgin Records when Robbie Williams was signed to Virgin. And
Fair.
Robbie was obviously a stadium act in the UK, but couldn't get arrested in America. And I remember
Yeah.
having conversations with American record executives because it was my record company because they were curious for my opinion why Robbie was having trouble getting traction in America. And I said, the thing that helps Robbie work in the UK doesn't work in America. The American rock scene, like Robbie always kind of played with rock. There was even that video where he like dressed up like Kiss or something, like, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
nothing
Yeah. Mhm.
disrespectful. I have a lot of respect for Robbie, but you've got to come from the street in America with rock. You can't
Yes.
come top down like you can in the UK. You got to come up from the bottom up.
100%.
Do you feel that now that you're finally getting that other traction in America?
Yeah. I think what was so interesting about that last record was, I think, my first album, I was 18. I was mad. Brexit had just happened in the UK. The first time I got to vote. And the whole basis of that campaign, young people would lie. I mean, the whole population was lied to. So me and my friends really felt misrepresented within music. You know, I think like I wrote an album, my first album, I was 18 years old, about what me and my friends were talking about down the pub. And then that went absolutely bananas, out of control, more than I would ever expect. And I think then all these opinions kind of uh, come into play by people who didn't really get you at the beginning anyway. And I think when you kind of, the biggest lesson I've kind of uh, had to learn to navigate when I've reached this point in my life, going into idols, going into Bloodfest, going into the next music, is kind of uh, me like not taking no for an answer and being like, guys, like I ain't doing that, or I'm not gonna go, and I don't want you to put me with a load of writers because you think they're gonna give me this magical thing that you think that I need. When I think the most beautiful thing about kind of space and going home and listening to your peers and listening to actual rock stars who've written actual classics, who've sold actual records, is kind of this sense of purity and this sense of truth of I went home and I was like, what do I want to do? Even if it's the demise of everything, if it's the last stand, if it's the last moment, what do I want to be remembered by? Oh, that was his last thing before he fell off the face of the earth. He died. You know what I mean? He went to open a guitar shop or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that was, I really went from a purist mentality with idols, being like, okay, I want to create something that's going to elongate the imagination and almost reset me in a place where I want my voice to be the leader. I want my sense of imagination to be limitless. And I want to put rock music at the forefront of my brand and my idea, because it's what I have grown up with. You know, I grew up in a guitar shop. My dad and my granddad had guitar shops. And the most beautiful thing about this album is it smells like soldering wire, Tolex glue, and Marshall's
Yeah,
overheating. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And I think like you can feel that, and it's so interesting. I would say to any artist, it's always beautiful getting lost, because if you can figure out your way back, you become more yourself than ever. You know, I think
yeah.
it's been cool because people can smell the truth, and I think that's why, again, people are starting to resonate in a bigger level than just the Yungblud core with with this album. Someone's like, oh wow, this feels like it's onto something here. Maybe it's not fully there yet, but that's cool. It's like,
No,
oh,
it's always
something's
about the
woken up.
journey. It's always about the journey.
Yeah,
It's interesting because if you look at any artist journey that you would respect, you usually can see a couple songs before the album where they really have the breakthrough. You kind of see the glimmer. Then there's the breakthrough record, which I feel like you're finally on, which is weird because you've had a lot of success. It's not like you were
yeah,
nobody. But the amount of times I've heard your name coming out of people's mouths in the last 60 days, it's like random people. I mean, the guy parking my car comes up and wants to talk to me about you.
that's crazy.
But I mean, but that's how I know you're cracking America.
Yeah,
It's gotta be street up. Where literally the guy,
completely.
literally the guy parking the car has to see something in you.
Yes,
It's a very egalitarian society in that way. You know, we don't have the classism like you have in the UK. It really is a working class country, even if we've gone away from that.
yeah, yeah. I can really feel that on this tour. It's so strange, the effervescence of the crowd at the minute. I mean, I've toured America 3 times, but it's never been like this. This is like, and I said that, I think I kind of really did clean house on this album. I had a lot of people telling me a lot of things, and I was like, guys, I really want to just go back to basics, and I really want to play these. Like I'm in the Fillmore in Detroit tonight. Like I've never played here. I wanted to go and walk the the boards that you did, that Zeppelin did, that Iggy did, that Bowie did. I wanted to go and do America and play like the Palladium and the Fillmores and these real rock and roll venues with this album that is so adherent to the way I believe rock should homage to the past, but be dragged into 2026, 27, 28, 29,
Yeah.
because it's all about imagination. That's what I think. I think rock music is such an incredible genre because it's the one genre you can't fake. Hip hop or pop gives its crown to whatever's biggest in that moment. Rock music is about pioneering while being adherent and respectful to the past and knowledge and this sense of community. It doesn't give the keys away. It's reluctant and it's that's fun. You know what I mean? I think we debate, and it's kind of it's cool, man. You know?
Okay, so two things. Number one, you're talking about playing these iconic venues because you wanted to walk the boards that these great bands have walked. Can you feel it?
Categorically, yes. It's wild. Like I played the rave last night. We saw at the rave in Milwaukee, and to see everyone on the wall and to speak to the owner about it, and just to feel, I don't know, man. Like I believe when you're writing songs or when you're a musician, that all the energy's floating above you. You've just got to catch it. You know what I mean? The fish are all above there. You just got to have the rod out to catch it, or you're going to catch it, or Noel
Yeah.
Gallagher's going to catch it, or Iggy's going to catch it. You know what I mean? It's like, and you can just feel it, and it's so beautiful to be on this run in America as rock music rears its head again.
Second thing I was going to say is, and you're figuring this out, so I'm not saying anything you don't know, but I can tell you this from having lived it. They really want you to grab that thing. They
Yeah,
really do. No matter what anybody tells you, they're there because they want to see you go for it.
I think that's what's beautiful about American audiences as well. It's almost like when the American audience get behind you, it's the biggest crash of a wave you've ever felt.
Well, the Stones, the Beatles,
Yeah, man.
everybody
Wild.
had to come over, no matter how great they were, and they were great. They all had to come here because there's something about, because this is really the heart of rock and roll, right? I mean, no
Yeah,
matter how many generations
absolutely.
go by. And by the way, when I say rock and roll, we're talking Motown, we're talking
Yeah,
Stax,
Screaming Jay Hawkins, Bo Diddley,
all
Muddy
of it.
Waters, like that's the vibe. Because when you think about rock and roll, and when you think about the Beatles and the Stones leading into Sabbath, leading into everything like after that, it was all rooted in American blues music that we put in a British accent and put some leather on. You know what I mean?
So, I haven't seen the Are You Ready, Boy doc yet. Allie Hagendorf, our mutual buddy,
Legend,
was
man.
here earlier today, and we were talking about you. And she had seen it with her husband, and so I was asking her some questions. But uh, the idea of you kind of staring down, what you're after in the doc, can you just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think this album was really about confronting legacy, not bowing down to it. I wanted to, because it was the most musically ambitious project we've ever done. I wanted to re-record a live version of the album 3 weeks after we delivered it. You know what I mean? Not after we've been on the road for a year. I still wanted that heartbeat when the red light goes on. It's not muscle memory yet. I don't know necessarily how I sing it yet. I think because when you're in the studio,
Yeah.
you kind of, it comes out of you for the first time. So the magic is encapsulated. And then 2 years after you've been playing it on the road, it's muscle memory. So you can sing it in your sleep and you know every inflection and you know every breath. But I really wanted to kind of go to a legendary studio, Hansa Studios in Berlin, Bowie, Iggy, Lou Reed, U2, Depeche Mode, you name it, and stand in the room and see if I could step up and perform this record in the room where so many epiphanies and hits have come from that ceiling, and really just kind of challenge my band to recreate this album. And it was such a crazy experience because Paul Dugdale directed it, and he's such a great director because he is all about the truth, and I love that about him. And I think he's been making films for pop stars for quite a long time, so I think he was ready for a bit of unhinged behavior. You know what I mean? In the film, I was like, I want you. We're there for 10 days. I want you to roll everything. I don't want any part of the edit. Because you know what it's like as an artist. If you have part of the edit, you can kill the honesty of the film because I don't know, it's like, oh, I don't look good there, or I'm singing a bit out of tune there, or we're having an argument there, or maybe I don't want to reveal that. I was like, right, you get free reign. I'm going to see it once. I've seen the film twice. It's so uncomfortable for me to watch. I'm like, oh God. But I think letting it happen and letting it be out there was something that, again, I think the biggest issue people have had with me is they have questioned my authenticity because in today's day and age, there is no mystery anymore. I think like when you put out Siamese Dream, you are on MTV and it looks epic and the photographs are dope and everything's crazy, but you don't see Billy in the bathroom scratching his ass every day, do you? You know what I mean? On the iPhone in today's to break through, you have to document everything to even get above the surface. And I think it was hard for people to understand sometimes to see in a world where everything is so edited and we all do it. I do it to break through into the 2 millisecond attention span. So I really wanted to create a film that would be a sense of elongation of the imagination so people could really get to know who I am and then make an honest judgment whether they hate me or they love me. You know what I mean? I think like that's cool.
Yeah.
I think it was dope to be like, right, roll it and see what the happens, man.
So in talking to Allison, my perception is you're on a once in a lifetime role, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I've been calling that shot for 3 years, so I feel like Nostradamus over here. But Allison's, and she loves you, so you know how she feels about you. But she said, look, I've known him since before his first stuff came out, and he's very much in charge of where this whole ship is going. You know what I mean? The Yungblud Inc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
but the question is, and it arose from something she said. She said he's there's a lot of people who are not in this. You're talking about authenticity. A lot of people aren't sold on what he's bringing to the table. And I, of course, did one of these like, oh, those people don't know what the hell they're talking about. But I thought it was interesting to ask you, and it's not a speak to the haters question. It's
No.
more like, where you see people divided on you, is it a question of authenticity? Is it a question of talent? Like, what is the vibe you're getting up off the street where people aren't sold?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes people don't believe me, and I welcome that challenge because I think it was so interesting when I spoke to Ozzy about this. He'd said like, you cannot take that on. You have to do what you do, and people will maybe probably understand it in hindsight. I think, especially in rock music, I think every generation before, it's like my dad's dad didn't like Oasis because he thought they were ripping off the Beatles. And I think every kind of people before, it's hard to understand someone who is trying to uh, kind of do rock music in a new way, because of course I'm referencing the past like we all were. You know, I'm saying, no, I'm
I
saying
mean,
that,
I,
but
I mean, the amount of people I've ripped off is, you know what I mean?
exactly. That's
That's
the
the
point
game.
of it,
That's
and
the
yeah,
fun of it.
that's the fun of it, and that is what I think is really exciting about rock music. I think what was beautiful about the Birmingham gig is, I think the biggest thing with it all is Yungblud as a name. It almost a negative connotation around it was, oh, I can't like that because it's for the kids. You know, I think it became a thing like, oh, I might be a bit old for that. So it's already like kind of was segregating uh, a demographic almost. But I think what was beautiful about the Back to the Beginning show was it was the first time when an older generation of rock fans had something in common with me. And that was our mutual adoration for our genre. I think people went, oh, he's just a rock fan. He's just a, he's just a Sabbath fan like we all are. And I think it's kind of gave people a little opening of a door to maybe fall down the rabbit hole. And when you take something like Bloodfest, I think Yungblud within this transition point was such a strange thing for me to navigate, because I was almost falling out of love with my name, because the only things I was becoming insecure about were opinions people were saying about me on the internet. You know, you read things and then you get insecure about things you didn't even know existed. You
like
know what I
your
mean? She's like, oh
like
my
your
God, is that
nose
what
or your
people,
tooth, right? It's like
yeah, is that what people think about me? You know what I'm saying? And everyone's like, are you going to be Youngblood forever? And that was a question. I was like, oh, I didn't really think about that at 18 years old. I just believed in this idea with everything I got and ran with it. And I remember at the end of the self-titled album, which was probably the most lost I'd ever been, because I was listening to a lot of people, I really was like, I need to stop now. And I need to figure out if Youngblood was going to be a Ziggy Stardust, and if I was going to go on to another thing. But the one thing that made me really re-fall in love with my name was Bloodfest, because after the album, I said, right, I'm going to take a year off the internet, 8 months off the internet, and I'm going to try and take stock of what I want to do. But I'm going to hold an event to say goodbye to the first iteration of
so
what
it was
we've
supposed to be a
created.
funeral.
Yes, almost like a goodbye to the first iteration of
Sure.
whatever the hell this has been. And in my head, I was secretly hoping, like, please let this gig give me an answer or a
Sure.
runway. I wanted to put everyone in one place so I could kind of almost take stock and be like, all right, where are we at right now? What does this represent? And 27,000 people turn up to a field, and it blew my mind because it was the first time I saw families, babies, mums, dads, obviously 15,000 young kids going nuts at the front. But it was the first time that Youngblood almost became bigger than a 19-year-old kid from the north of England singing about politics, letting his mad ADHD brain be like, I'm going to experiment here, and I'm going to do metal, and I'm going to do rap, and I'm going to do pop, and I'm going to do rock. And it was almost like a celebration of this kind of personified confusion within music that 30,000 of us were feeling.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, Youngblood is bigger than me now. It's this thing. So Dom can go and experiment with different music or really settle into rock and hard rock, because I think that's what I was setting out to do from the beginning anyway, in a much more purist way, because people have their own idea of what Yungblud is within themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are there because of the first album, some people are there because of the third album, some people are there because they just like what the community represents. Some people are there because they're obsessed with the music, some people are there because they're friends, their friendship group is within the community. And I think it kind of made me go like, I cannot control what people think about my art. I have to make an album for myself. And I have to make this next adventure about what do I want to leave behind. And I think that's a moment where this clicked. And I've never known that until 27. So it's very interesting to again be like, oh, I think this is the start of the rest of my life now. You know what I mean? I feel like I've really settled.
First off, the piece of advice that Oz gave you is worth $1 billion.
100%.
Because, and I've learned it, but he said it better than I could. It's the weirdest thing in the world, because the minute you get a record deal or somebody pays some attention to you, right? You know, because let's face it, there's a lot of people on this planet. The minute you break through into that other side, somebody starts telling you how you aren't that special. And they start saying, but if you want to be special, if we could take this that you do and we add this little thing, and that's now in the modern world, in the 21st century, pop music is the machinery by which someone like you is more able to work your way up whatever that proverbial golden ladder is. But what Ozzy understands, what I understand, what Steven Tyler understands is, at the end of the day, it's about you. And if you don't believe in you, it just becomes this it's like a weird, like it's you're a star in your own movie and you don't even want to be in the movie.
100%. That is a crazy quote, because it's so bizarre looking back on it now, because I remember when that album came out, I was in New York and it had gone #1 in 7 countries. And but I was like, I could have done better. Why did I listen to people? There were good songs on it, but I was like, I was not happy. But now I look back on it and I'm like, I do not regret it, because it was the biggest smack in the face that I needed. It was like
but see, you can only feel the sting of that if you're that high up that mountain.
Yeah.
And it's a lonely place, because everybody else is looking, saying, well, I'd trade for that in a second. You're like, no, you don't understand. This isn't my top speed. You know, and the other thing I was going to say, and I hope you understand the beauty of this. I think when Ozzy and Sharon added you to that show, it wasn't just adding you to that show. The tickets were already sold. They brought you on to continue this beautiful thing that we've all built together. And what I've said to so many people, and I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 times about that show too, because it was a magical 3 days.
It was.
It was unbelievable. I mean, we'll talk about that in a second, but the thing that was so beautiful about it is, I said, where in the world can you see somebody in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and we're all pointed in the same direction?
Completely.
It was the biggest cue to the pop world, and we weren't even trying to do it.
100%. It was mind blowing when we were all there, when everyone was taking the photographs, and I'm kind of there, and you're there, and James Hetfield's there, and Ozzy's there, and Geezer Butler's over there, and Chad Smith's over there, and I'm like, what kind of simulation is this? But it was the most humble, respectful, positive backstage I have ever been amongst. It was wild because it was the rock scene. And I think what was so wild is that concert single-handedly has ignited another spark within the monster of our genre. Because again, generationally, we all have something in common. Yes, it gets a little bit softer as the younger we get because the new generation is more emotional and it's more open and it's a little bit less kind of, but everyone is there for a common reason. And it was like, I felt so honored because I remember getting the call and I thought, oh, they're going to ask me to do the wizard or they're going to ask me to do like nib and like just go like use my pure unfiltered energy. And Sharon goes, we want you to do changes. And my first thought, I'm like, oh, a piano, me, 50,000 people and 4
Birmingham
million
too,
people.
by the way,
Yeah.
not London,
Birmingham. Yeah.
Birmingham.
Yeah. Birmingham. I'm like real people and a live stream at home, nowhere to hide. And I was like, okay, wow. And I think it was one of the craziest experiences in my life because when you are there amongst your idols, all of you were there backstage, and you're kind of the young buck. And then obviously the show was loud and it was heavy and it was energetic. But then I had to go on stage and there is nothing but me and Adam Wakeman's piano and Ozzy's entire legacy pinned in front of all of us. I think it was the most seen I've ever felt by the universe ever. But I think the way I kept it under control was the biggest thing I learned was that I think when you walk on stage, did you know this? Like when there's 20,000 people out there, you're trying to take it in. But when you can take that torch and turn it into a laser beam and sing it to one person, whether that person be yourself or that person be a lover, whether that person be a friend or a brother or a mother or whatever. I sung it to Oz and I just was like, thank you, man. And I feel like I've never been that locked into a performance ever, or like that. I've never felt that in space or on the moon or whatever. You know what? When we talk about when you're a kid, like you fly, I was flying. You know what I mean? And I remember at the end of it when I was like getting the crowd to sing at the end. I didn't have that planned. It was in the last chorus. I was like, I want him to hear them backstage, and I want him to know that when he walks out, this roof is gonna erupt.
Yeah.
And I think when you can be on stage and you can almost alleviate your own ego and sing to not just the man that's Ozzy, but the energy force that has been curated for all of us there. It was the most mind-blowing. It was the most mind-blowing kind of lesson ever.
See, what's so beautiful about rock music and that pop can never figure out, no matter how much they game theory it out, right? Black Sabbath is the band that should not be.
Completely.
And yet here we are, what, almost 60 years later in a stadium, and there they are, right? So,
And the songs just still hit
but
right there.
What they have? One hit song?
Nope.
Basically, Paranoid, I think, was the only hit song Sabbath ever had.
Yeah, well, yeah, fair. When you think about it, yeah, when like a charting song.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is pop can't understand the power of rock when it's organic. You know?
Because it's a movement, it's an idea, it's an encapsulation of the imagination of the left turn, of the unknown, of the alternative mindset, instead of it being, I mean, like when you listen to like Fairies Wear Boots and all those time changes and those just what, it's just insane. Like
they were smoking a
the
lot of
Lord
pot
and geezer. Yeah, 100%. But like to be there amongst it, and it's so amazing to hear like you say that as well. Like it just felt like this like, I don't know, this coming together of 5 armies, you know what I mean? To like take on the world.
To me, it's tribes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, really.
Because you got the Slayer tribe, you got the Tool tribe, you got the, you know what I mean?
Pumpkins tribe, you got the Aerosmith tribe, you got the Yungblud tribe, you got Metallica tribe. It's just like, boom.
Yeah, tribes. Yeah.
And it was the biggest thing in the world. It's so funny, even like the VMAs the other night, with the VMAs to obviously honor him. And I think we were probably one of the only acts singing live there. You can tell. You know what I mean? Amongst all the bubble gum and amongst all the uh the award show pizzazz, to have us just play live and it be the most viewed video on the internet the day afterwards, you can feel rock music is all about truth and all about passion and all
Yeah.
about humanity.
Well, it's life.
You know, I think,
Life.
yeah, it's life, and it pulls you right back down to earth because you're right. Pop music is the elevation, caricatured version of a heightened version of life that people can tap into for 2 minutes to distract themselves. Where rock is about being in the mud and being the beauty within the dirt and
Yeah.
seeing your breath in the
Yeah,
cold
and there's
the
plenty of
rain.
room for both, but when the music business gets too tipped one direction, now the kids are coming. They want real and real right now.
But
And I know
100%,
you're
and you can
feeling that
feel it.
because I've been watching some of the clips from your tour, and it is very real.
Yeah, it's wild. It's just like we've never had this ferocity before. It's like it's just I don't know. It's just the way I can say it's just life. It's life in every. It's anger. It's sex. It's happiness, sadness. Everything in these like 3,000 cap theaters that's just like about to blow the lid off. And there's like 2,000 people on the wait list and 500 kids outside who can't get in, but we're all a part of something. And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's amazing to feel rock music come back because it's spherical. If you look at like punk, you've got Ammo and the Sniffers. If you look at hardcore, you've got Turnstile and Not Loose. And indie, you've got like Fontaine's DC, and like rock, like Me in the Middle, and then everyone else, like the resurgence of albums, iconic rock albums coming to the forefront of TikTok again. It's like, yeah, I don't know, man. And I think even country music, rock always follows country because country is rooted in the songwriting, and then rock music is the songwriting with heavier distortions and sex appeal and like insane lyrics. You know what I mean? It's just like I think country always opens the door to more emotional.
Well, country is rock before rock. I mean, it's just
it
rock
literally
without the
is.
riff. That's all.
Completely.
I mean,
Like
Jimmy
Merle
Page
Haggard,
Jimmy
Hank
Page understood
Williams.
that better than anybody. That's why there's so much country influence in Zeppelin.
Completely. And it's cool, man. It's so weird because you always dream of a moment like this, and when it comes, you're just like, holy, wow, this is because you're almost like not doing anything differently. You've kind of been more yourself than ever, and then the world kind of goes, oh, all right, cool. This seems legit. You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
So let me ask you this, and this is my own theory, but I had to figure out because saying you're crossing over is accurate, but it doesn't describe it. Okay, so I had to come up with my own term, which is like you're crossing over in reverse. And what I mean by that is crossing over pop to rock is very, very, very rare. Very rare.
yeah,
So off the top of your head, name the people who've crossed over pop to rock.
wow, oh my god. I mean,
There's only one I can think of off the top of my head, but I'll leave it to you.
I would say that the poppiest rock crossover would be a band like The Cure for me.
Okay.
I think Happy Sad.
Okay.
Because Robert Smith is a rock star.
But he wasn't pop first, though. That's the thing.
No, he wasn't. You're right. I literally can't think.
Okay, so
you tell me. Go on.
Okay. This is the person I most compare you to. So if you indulge me to explain why. And I would tell you this in private. So this is the same conversation we would have if we were just
I love it. I'm excited.
hanging out the bar. Okay. Elton John. Elton John. And what I've been saying for 3 years is this kid, is Elton John. And what I mean by that is you can sing pop, you can sing a ballad, and that crowd will go with you. So you could do a Tiny Dancer type song and it would feel great and credible. But you can also sing rock.
Yeah, man.
And Elton John's one of the only people ever who was popish first, ballady, piano, who crossed over rock. And that's what I keep telling people and why I've been telling people for 3 years. Don't sleep on this kid because he can sing both. And the Ozzy concert showed, let's call it rock world in general, that this
Yeah.
guy, his heart's in the right place, but he can sing rock.
Yeah, man, that's great. I think that's blown my mind. You're so right. His Troubadour days, he was
Yeah.
a pop star, and then he just merged into like
Yeah, it was
rock
this
and
kind of
roll.
piano man stuff, and that was of the time. But when he went rock is when he really exploded, you see.
Yeah,
He
wow.
started doing
Yeah,
Benny and the Jets and Philadelphia Freedom and
yeah,
Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. That
yes. That.
shows you why Elton John's. Well,
Yeah,
but that
wow.
shows you why Elton John hit that other level and why he was a stadium act and not just a big pop act, which is why
No,
Elton is such a rare talent.
yes, because it goes to a deeper level, and I think that's what's kind of beautiful again now. Like as I'm going to put out a project in the next couple of weeks with some more heroes of mine, but then in November, I've told everyone to clear it because I think more than ever I'm so inspired to write. I think for someone like me, when you look at it, I'm a kid from a guitar shop whose education was T-Rex, Bowie, Sex Pistols, Exploited, The Clash, moving into kind of me finding NWA and shoegaze like bands like you and Public Enemy and everything myself, who dreamt about it. And then in the guitar shop, it's almost like the kind of graveyard of rock stars who tried. And to kind of end up here, I feel like I'm 7 again in my dad's shop.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like so exciting. To me, like going to guitar shows with my dad, I feel like, oh, I don't know. I feel so lucky to have been, I don't know, the world to see me in this light, in this moment, because it's truly in my blood. You know,
Yeah, and the thing is what's funny, and because you know the pop game, they're all going to start trying to figure out how to do what you're doing, and they're not going to
it's
be able to
already,
because they don't have the love for it.
yeah, they don't have the love for it or the knowledge of it or the understanding of it. I think like with it all, again, it comes from the street up.
Okay,
It
so let me stop.
literally,
Let me stop you. See, this is the beauty of Ozzy and Sharon, okay, and this is that crazy partnership that they have and had. In their wisdom, they decided to include you in that fraternity, almost in anticipation of where this was going to go.
yeah,
And that's the beauty of it, right?
it is the beauty of it. And it's like, again, it was such a gift to me because to be seen by the world within the genre that I love and that I ultimately want to do. But I've almost been fighting against the streamers and the label and the da-da-da. It's like,
Yeah.
no one wants to do that. But to be given Ozzy to be able to get, and Sharon to be able to give me a platform to be able to be like, let's carry this on together. Let's all carry this on together, was a moment where everyone else now the other parties are getting involved, being like, oh, how do we do that again for these XYZ artists? It's hilarious. It's like, guys, what the fuck, man? I've been wanting to do this for years, but everyone's been telling me to twist it or let's get a rapper on a song to make sure that the mainstream or all this bull. Instead of being like, let's just lock in and make great music. You know what I mean? It's so interesting. It's like, but now it's amazing. Everyone's like, yeah, man, do what you want. I'm like, oh, great. So now I get to go for 6 weeks in November and make a project that I want, which I'm really excited about.
Is the idea, because I saw somewhere and you tell me, you presented Idols as kind of a part one conceptual work. Is this a continuance of that or is this going to be something different?
What's been mental is I think part 2 is ready to go, which is a continuation of Idols, but I think I've got some heavy, my energy is really inspired at the minute. And I think I've got a project, 5-song project coming out with Aerosmith, which is wild because me, Stephen and Joe got together before the Aussie thing was even about. I think we were just going to write together for fun because I think like when your heroes are like, yo, do you want to get in the studio? I'm just like, yeah, what? So we were writing.
Especially those two.
Yeah, especially those two. And we heard our voices together, and Stephen was like, "Oh my god, you can get up to the places where I can go. That's crazy." And there was almost this friendly competition between me and one of my all-time vocal heroes that I've sat in my room and studied, and we sound good together on tape. That we made ended up making 5 songs together. That's coming out uh, in November, and then I think I'm just so inspired right now. I think I want to put out another album in February that I'm yet to write, and then Idols Part Two will come out when it's ready too. So I just think like this ferocity of a moment that you're talking about, where you get songs present themselves to you, because you know what it's like when you sit there and you go, okay, like I don't know, I won't speak for you, but when you write when I hear a masterpiece like Mayonnaise, I'm like, that was the universe's gift to Billy. Like that just came out of the sky through your body. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't, you know what I mean? I think like you hit a moment and you hit a piece of like the energy comes through you
Oh, absolutely.
that you can't plan for.
Yeah,
You can't be like,
when we
okay, I'm going to write this absolute world
but let me tell
genre
you real
fine
quick
tune.
about that song. So that song, we were in Japan, and James Yeehaw came into my room and said, "I got this idea for a song. Can I play you?" He had like a tape Walkman. That's how long ago, 1992. And he played me the song. He had the basic chords, and he played me the song in the Walkman, and I immediately heard the melody.
Wow,
Da 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 da. I heard it immediately, and I had no way to record the melody, and I just remembered it. I heard the song one
wow,
time. So months later, back in the U.S. and we're working on the song. I'm living in a parking garage, no joke. So when we wrote that song, it was like literally like I'm living like a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm going to be able to write this album that became Side Me Street. So that song is a circumstance of this weird stuff that just kind of happened, and that's why I would encourage you. Sorry to make it about you again. Is when you have that instinct, I need to get back in the studio. You need to listen to that, because the moment that you're in is so rare. I know it's rare, but you don't realize how rare it is.
no, yeah, it's wild because it's all I don't know, it's like a sponge, isn't it? Take the energy that whatever the hell's going on, and then you try and make sense of it through music. And I think those times in your life don't come around.
That's
They
that's
come around
that's
four
exactly
times,
that's what I'm
once,
saying.
twice. You know
That's
what I
what I'm
mean?
saying. It's like you want to get that on paper or a piece of tape, as we used to say, although it's digital these
Yeah,
days.
100%.
Okay, so last thing, because like I said, I when we really sit down, I really want to sit down and have a deeper conversation about how you got
Yeah.
to be this insanity moving comet that you are right now. Um, how are you doing with the pressure of the moment? And I'm not saying you're handling it well, you're not handling it well, but now you're hitting that other level of pressure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's so funny you said that, because yesterday was the first time I went, whoa.
I'm laughing because I know the feeling.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, I think it was so funny. Met one of my best friends and photographer who takes all my pictures. Tom is sat within the room with me, because we're obviously filming this remotely right now. But I kind of went up to him yesterday and was like, whoa. Like we have never, I think after the VMAs and the kind of the veracity of that, I was like, I've really got to kill this. um, but I think the Aerosmith records are so great that I feel good about that, because I'd already written them with them. You know what I mean? So like they're ready to kind of come out and take this wave. And it's rock, man. It's real fucking rock. Like guitars right up, live drums, in solos in every song, wailing, screaming. Me and Steven Tyler just competing with each other in the most beautiful way.
I love it.
Like my honestly, like to form a relationship with him, um, arguably probably one of the greatest vocalists of all time, and to kind of pick his brain and to like just meet someone who's just crazy, energetic,
But also
wild as me.
as an artist, a real visionary, because he's really one of the only people, maybe outside of ZZ Top, that figured out how to make blues pop.
Yeah, man. And to make all those bluesy runs just sound cool you know what I mean? Like the wrong singer doing those bluesy runs over the top of these songs, you're like, oh, shut up. But he's
Uh,
just got it. It's like to be able to, again, it's so weird. Like to make an album called Idols was like an 8 month manifestation to be like being the fraternity, as you said, of kind of around the Black Sabbath show, to be talking to you and becoming friends with you, to be making records with Aerosmith. It's like, I don't know what the heck I wish for, but that album was like rubbing a magic lamp on it. You know what I mean?
yeah. So, okay, last thing.
Come on then.
20 years from now, how does this go?
In my imagination, I keep writing as much music as I can. This moment goes absolute bananas, and I would love to be able to play stadium rock all over the world, because I think that's where I come alive as a frontman. I think I enjoy playing to big crowds like that because it's where everything makes sense. I love the energy of 50,000 people coming together as one and screaming, and just that pulsating thing, even between the songs, when it's like,
It's a nice sound.
it's just the craziest thing in the world. Like that would be the dream. And again, to carry on a new energy of the genre that I love and that I've known for my whole life since been 6 hours old on my
Yeah.
dad's counter with a Beatles ukulele across my knee. You know what I mean? It's like it was always what I knew. I think it was so interesting when across my life, I never wanted people to think that I had music handed to me because I grew up in a guitar shop. It was almost like the opposite. Everyone was like, "Don't do that. You'll end up working in here." You know what I mean? Um, uh, so I almost like hid that away. But my upbringing was pretty rock and roll, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to be around guitars all day. My weekends were full of like polishing dust off 330 from 1964. You know what I mean? It was like epic, you know, and tuning guitars. And I think to be able to be here in this moment and to be able to be with heroes around me in a genre that I love, I'm just going to give it my best shot, you know?
Okay, so my 20-year prediction. It's easy to say Elton John because we can understand what that means. You know,
Yeah.
we've all seen the shot of Elton at Dodger Stadium wearing the Dodgers rhinestone
Why?
suit. He's on the
Why?
piano with the baseball bat, right? Just remember, and I'll tell you this publicly and I'll tell you this privately. It's only going to work if it's your music.
Yeah.
It's got to be you and your music and your voice and your heart. It will only work. And don't let anyone tell you differently. If you get there, it'll be because then this is my prediction. You will be in that stadium 20 years from now, and they will be singing along to the hits that you haven't written yet and the classics you haven't written yet. But it's only going to happen if it's your music, your music. They want your music. They don't want my music through you. I'd love to
No.
write a song, and we've talked about that, but I'm saying it's got to be you because everybody you name check, it was their song.
Categorically agree. I literally was having that conversation yesterday because I think I'm getting a lot of great opportunities to work with people, but I agree. I was like, I have to go with the producer that I did my last album with because he makes me feel alive and he makes me feel limitless. And obviously I can bring other people in and work with amazing collaborators.
Yeah,
But
like
I agree.
there's no Elton without Bernie Taupin. We know that.
No, completely,
But you
because
don't feel he's singing somebody else's song.
no, you're so right. I agree.
Right?
And I feel more excited than ever to explore that. And it's crazy that you said that because I don't know, man, we're intertwined in some way. You're almost like in the back of my mind. It's crazy because I'm like, now it's like I've got this amazing project coming out with these icons and that I love and that I had a massive hand in writing, but now it's time to go and carry on this idea of idols that I sat in a room and was like, every chord, every lyric, everything was coming out of my head and was being led by me,
That's it.
So it's
That's
going to
it.
be insane.
All right. 20 years from now, we'll pull the tape out. Of course,
Yeah, we'll see.
we'll both be poor and
Yeah,
crying.
literally like busking in the subway. Like, come on, Billy, still got it, man. Come
So
on,
20 years, I'll be 78 and you'll be, how old will you be? Like,
I will be 48.
okay. So you'll be 48 and I'll be 78. We'll be busking on the corner somewhere.
I hope so, man. I'll hold you to that.
All right. God bless you, Dom. See you soon.
Thank you, Billy, man. Thank you so much for having me, man. I really love that. It's an honor. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Love, guys.